Hey everybody, welcome to Fresh Monday's podcast. After having a wonderful beginning of your week on this Fresh Monday.
Yes, and we are as I like to talk about the weather, we are getting closer. I don't remember if the groundhog saw his shadow or not, but we're getting close to spring, I believe, and I can feel it. It's in the air.
Nice, yes.
You can wear your tank tops and your short shorts and be comfortable. So it's starting to get there to that spring bloom is what I'm excited for.
Nice.
I miss those Florida days where like you knew around 11, 12, 1 o'clock, like mid-afternoon, it's going to rain. And then after that, it's like nothing happened.
Right. Or it's like raining 3 blocks from where you live and you can see the rain and you're like, oh, it's coming. You know what I mean? Just things that remind you of the Caribbean, which makes Florida pretty cool.
Yes. Ooh, that's what we need, a trip to the Caribbean.
Oh, that's nice. We should have a Fresh Mondays podcast live from the sandy beaches of Barbados or something.
Ooh. I am not mad at that. I will make that 24-hour flight to get to Barbados.
Wow, Seattle's far. Jesus Christ.
You forget how far.
Yes, I do.
Yes. So don't invite me places unless you need me there 24 hours prior. It's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, we have last week's episode. Mm-hmm. We had a fantastic guest on the show. We had a great motivational speaker by the name of J.R. Rivera.
Yes, very, very respectful guy, a guy that's all about paying it forward to the community. He believes in helping the youth. And that was a really cool conversation.
Yeah, I liked a lot of his words, and you can tell that's genuinely what he does and what he's about and what he's there to do to serve the community, and being an actual active person within the community, which always reminds me that I want to sign up for more volunteering opportunities. Right? Like something, and I used to work with children often, so it reminds me of like, damn, I haven't worked around children in years. And I as you know, I did that for a long time. So it was just one of those moments where I had with myself, like, I need to remember to volunteer and sign up for something out here.
Right. And it's also kind of I know everybody doesn't probably feel this way, but I feel like we all have a responsibility. Once you get to a certain age or a certain level of experience, that you have to start paying it forward. You know what I mean? Because that's how communities grow. And if you are a person who believes in advancement and in the future, some of that does involve you giving some of your time. So I agree with you. It did inspire me to try to see how I can start doing something to help, those around me in ways that are second nature for me, but may not be second nature for others.
Yeah, like signing up to be like a big brother or big sister. Those are always impactful, kind of making those real connections, because what worked for him was a lot of those students remembered him, which then helped him in the long run when it became for the voting process for the BET officer. So you never know those long life connections that you're making with others. So very interesting. We appreciated having J.R. Rivera on the show, and looking forward to his new and upcoming endeavors. And don't forget to look up for his book. Fantastic guy.
Thank you so much, everyone. And make sure to just go to our Fresh Mondays podcast at our Instagram page. Is under Fresh Mondays podcast. You can catch up on all of our past episodes with the link in the bio. And you'll also see our cover art for different guests that we've had thus far in 2019. If you are interested in communicating with us, you can always DM us at Fresh Mondays podcast, or you can also email us at freshmondayspodcast@gmail.com if you're interested in being a part of our show.
So getting into episode 61, I can't wait till 100, by the way. That's going to be a party. Y'all get ready. Dress is right. Maybe it is in Barbados.
That'll be awesome.
So as we're heading into episode 61, Diana, tell us about our guest.
Hello, everyone. I would like to apologize to all of our listeners for this intermission due to technical issues when recording this interview. We lost a portion of our conversation where we lost the introduction of Micheal Zavala. He is one of the cast members on the VH1 docu-series, The Cartel Crew. The part of the interview that we lost was when Micheal was introducing himself as a member of the Colombian family, the Zavalas. He and his twin sister, Nicole Zavala, share their stories about being born into the cartel family on the VH1 show, The Cartel Crew. Make sure to check out the whole first season at vh1.com. Micheal is is also a short film creator of a film called Abduction, where he shares a artistic expression of a major turning point in his life. Here's where we pick up in the conversation.
Hey. Okay, I'm back. I don't know what happened.
No, but yeah, you were leaving off with her family not knowing your family's history.
Right. So she didn't know anything about us, but I was not gonna explain myself. I'm like, that's not gonna help the situation. So let me not, get to the point. So, but she wanted to be with me, but just she was that type of person. Was like, whatever my parents say, and I'm like, well, what about your feelings? Like, you can't make your own decisions. So I couldn't be with somebody that was just like, whatever my mom says, whatever my dad says. And I'm like, no, if like I need to be with somebody that makes their own decisions and, just do what they want to do and not like let being controlled by her mom, just like how I was being controlled by her. So,
Right.
So that's why I was not allowed to have friends. I started, building up my own business, which was good. It was great. I was like, I thank her for that, just because I wasn't, those kids that would go out and smoke and drink and just get lit 24/7, spend their money and not do anything for their future. I was just already like focused too early in the game, which is where it got me here now. And so I kicked her off one morning, her parents called her and was like, we're outside, we're going to go eat breakfast. So she always tried though. She's like, okay, we are going to get ready. And her mom, I heard her, of course, Hispanic mom on the phone, super loud. She's like, no, just you. And I grabbed the phone and I'm like, you know what, just come in and pick her up. And say maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds. I don't know what happened to me, but I felt like Flash. I literally got off the bed, grabbed all her clothes, put it in the laundry bag, grabbed the engagement ring, put it in my pocket, and she's in the bed staring at me, slow motion. And I'm here like going like 300 miles per hour. And I'm like, looking at her, she's frozen in bed, like, what are you doing? And having no clue what was happening. And her mom rang the doorbell. I opened the door. I gave her the laundry bag because that was the only thing she had was her clothes and her knives because she was a chef. But I gave that afterwards because I didn't think of it at the moment.
Could have been a whole nother situation with the knives.
So, I feel bad. It was like, but something in me was just like, I have to end this now. And her mom, I was just like, take her. And when we were little, her mom, we got into like our first argument when we were maybe like 15. Her mom's like, I'm always going to win and you're always going to lose. And I'm like, I told that to my mom and mom's like, oh, hell no. Mom, don't say anything. And
how did she react when she found out that you were gay?
I'll get to that point because that's a good one. So, I guess when her mom said, I'm always going to win, I guess I held that since till then.
Because those are strong words.
Let this go. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna prove them that I'm worth it. Whatever. And I gave up. And once I opened the door and I gave her the laundry bag, I was just like, "You won. Go grab her." And she grabbed her arm and took her. And I just waved goodbye to her. And that was the last time I ever saw her.
Wow. It's amazing how you said like those words stuck with you and that you were trying to prove throughout that time that those words, throughout the whole time is like,
which was
that's what you stuck around for.
Giving her whatever she wanted. I was not gonna lie, spoiling her, but that's not just because of that. It was just that's the type of person I am. But I guess it wasn't enough. But yeah. So a week later, I was just like, let me distract my mind. Let me go hit the gym. I hit the gym and then I run into this person. And this person I've been looking at and seeing throughout my whole relationship with her. And every time I saw him, I'm like, why do I feel this way? I'm like, I get a little excited. And it was for maybe 5 years straight that I kept running into him. Not running into him, but looking at him, like, let's just say at the mall or across the street. And I always have this like weird feeling. And I ran into him at the gym that week. Well, actually, I met him over. We talked. One thing led to another. He became my boyfriend.
Hey now. Hey now. Wow. It's amazing that you got with the guy that you always had a crush on.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
When I was telling people who I kind of was, he can already tell that I was not afraid of anything or cared what people thought. So, like, let's just say a week later, I was just like, okay, this is gonna go somewhere. And I called my mom. She's like, when are you gonna come visit? It's your sister's birthday next month. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go with my boyfriend. And she was like, oh, okay. Okay. And I'm like, yeah. And then that's it. That was just like how I told my mom.
Wow, your mom is awesome. That's nice.
Yeah. And it was literally, like I said before, a force or an energy or God or an entity was telling me this whole time. And ironically enough, his name was Jesus. I'm not religious whatsoever, but
God pointed you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome. And I think that it's really beautiful that you were able to be your true self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and your parent and your mom being very, like, just, not everyone gets that experience. I know a lot of people who have been through various situations and various matters when they come kind of express to their parents. And so you're very lucky to have a mom who was just like, all right, so we're waiting for you for dinner. Let's go.
Especially a Latino mom, because, you know, Latinos are a little more intolerant of things like that.
Yeah. So that month came and we went to visit my little sister. He walked through that front door and all three of them fell in love with him on that split second. And it was so weird watching that because they hated Ariel, my ex-girlfriend. They hated her. They didn't like her just because they knew, like, that you can feel the vibe on someone, you know. And, like, of course, mom knows best. They know everything. So my mom said, I knew. That's why I kept asking you, are you sure you want to do this with her?
Right. So, well, you know what? Thank God you didn't marry her, man. Honestly. Because if you guys would have gotten married, that would have been a train wreck, because that's not truly what you wanted. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day.
Yeah. The other day, I was just like, I guess I wanted to be that perfectionist. I was like, okay, wife, kids, house, you know, plan. And I'm like, no, let me just, like, run with my feelings, not, like, you know. So
right.
I'm glad I did.
So I did watch Love Abduction. So this does give me a really overall, like, full understanding of that film. And it was beautifully shot, by the way, like, super clean. And it's reminds me of reminiscent of, like, a silent movie almost, because there aren't really much into there. Was that the direction that you were going for?
Yeah, because I don't like to express myself in, like, words, I guess, to a loved one. I'd rather show you how much I love you than tell you. So that was the whole concept of it all, that I'd rather show the viewer what I went through instead of telling them. And the way I did it, I don't know if you noticed, just like how, I don't know if that's how I think or that's how my world revolves around me, but everything I do has to be symmetrical. Like, all my tattoos are symmetrical. Like, it's just like in my Instagram, it's all like that too. Mm-hmm. So in the movie, I show two stories and they're exactly the same. The only difference was the gender. So each scene was exactly the same. And it was, ironically enough, that's how the whole story was really. I met her, I met him, I fell in love, they engaged, moved in, then family, friends got involved, I had to let them go. So we never really broke up. I just made the executive decision that this is not, I love you and everything, but it's not, we're not meant to be. I guess an entity or, like, energy was telling me, like, you have to go through these things so you can find your true self. And then that's when the whole metaphor of me being abducted by something. So I came up with aliens that took me from that situation or that place era, which is New York, New Jersey, and brought me to somewhere else, which is Miami, so I can start my brand new life, because now I figured out who I truly am. So I lived both lives so I can know what direction I wanted to be at. And also, I fell in love with her, I fell in love with him. Now it was my turn to fall in love with myself and really, you know, understand who I really was and who I am and why I'm in this world and what I have to do and everything. So that was the whole concept and metaphor of it all.
I think it translated really well, based on your story and how it happened. And, like, now that we know you a little more personally, I think that it translated well, because I gathered that it was kind of like a coming out story. When I
Yeah.
first saw it, without hearing your actual story and you verbalizing, that's what I took it like. So a person that has never met you or knows where this came from, I think they would take it like a coming out story. Like you were doing one thing for a point of time, but then you did it the right way, because now you did it with someone you really wanted to be with. So I did gather that. And like Marley mentioned, the cinematography was on point. Like it was beautifully shot for sure. And like, I know obviously you're such a detail oriented person based on everything you're saying and what you do professionally, that you do interior design and everything. I could tell that you must have truly went through a very rigorous editing process to make sure that it looked a certain kind of way. Cause you could tell, especially I loved the imagery in the barn.
Yes.
I thought that was so beautiful. I thought that the angles that you were used, it was like, it was upscale. So I think it translated really nicely. Mm-hmm.
I kind of wanted to bring in that, like, I was in New York, this different era of my life, and then into Miami, which was like this, like, well, I lived at Kendall at the moment, so it was just like this farm life, you know, totally opposite from like where I came from. So I really wanted to show those two different aspects, and then show two of my different personas, which was Micheal living up in Jersey, and then I'm known as Zavala here in Miami. So I brought those two together, and then I, you know, towards the end, it was just like, who cares where I was, or who I ended up with, or how I ended up, and it was just I'm the same person.
Right. Now to ask you a question, like as from a film perspective, a person that we might have a lot of listeners that are trying to, you know, create their own movies, or they want to get into the film industry somehow, or they want to get into TV. Mm-hmm. How different is it when you're creating a project like a short film or a movie, and then versus working on a production set for like a reality show? Because reality shows really have taken over the scene in regards to entertainment, but we all have this perception now that reality shows are not really that reality, that they kind of create some type of a storyline so that people can get engaged or whatever the case may be. Like, how different is it, like creating something and then being on a reality show? Like, explain that to us.
It's very different. Just because you're in control when you're creating something. I wanted, you know, the certain angles, certain views, certain detail and stuff, all that stuff. And then plus I was the one being in it, so I portrayed whatever I wanted. Now in a reality TV show, you can be who you are. You don't have to, you know, they can't tell you do this or do that. Like they put you in a bowl of fish, in a fish tank, and you just run with it, and obstacles happen and whatnot. And that's how like real reactions and happen and everything. So, and of course the editing makes it more, you know, extra than it really is, but like creative, you're more controlled in the situation, and in reality you're not, because you have no idea what's going to happen.
Right. So does it shock you when you finally see the final product? You're like, wow, like you guys spun that. Does that happen?
Sometimes here and there, but most of the things are like, okay, that really happens. I can't believe that happened. I can't believe that's going to air. But I mean, I want to say 90% of it is accurate. But it's a little scary because you have no idea what you're going to run into that day. But you just never know. But yeah, thank God we have security around. It's super safe. So that's a good thing.
So what other filming I know interior designing is your first line of business, correct? And then, so what is next for you in the sense of like your films or kind of creative wise? And then tell us more about the interior design business.
Okay. Now for the film, I also created like a little song, like soundtrack, just because I didn't want it to be super silent in the background. So I created, I wanted somebody that while they were viewing the movie to also feel the emotions we were going through. So I created the song that has very sad tones to it, tunes, and then dramatic, and then intense. So you feel it like bass while you're watching it. So you can feel the same emotion. So I like that. I also in Instagram done a lot of little videos of just using music in the background without voice, just to show off emotion, and that's somewhat like my style, I guess. All my pictures show some type of emotion. They're just not just like straight on, showing off product, or it's just more abstract, I guess, or not even show a lot of emotion. Like I don't even have to like not even look at the camera to like show you what I'm doing, but that's just somewhat my style, very minimalistic, and the color tones, the shadowing, the lighting. So that's how I like to create little storylines without saying anything, but just you listening to it and also seeing it with music.
So what's next for your interior design world? I know that you do things in New York, you do things in Miami, you even have some corporate contracts. Congratulations for that. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
What is it that you focus on as far as your design is concerned, just in case anybody wanted to work with your company? And how do people reach you if they do want to use your talents and skills?
So I came up with Zavala Concepts back in 2016, 15, sorry. And I do a lot of residential work instead of corporate jobs, just because I like, more hands-on personal projects, and getting intimate with the client and really knowing exactly how they want to live, in what environment and whatnot. And I love plans, so I try to educate all my clients, like, you need this, you need that, you need these color tones if you want this type of energy. So I like very personal jobs with clients like that. So that's why I lean more into residential. So I started doing that in New York with a lot of realtor companies. So I would go and stage their model homes. That was a little bit much easier because I didn't have to deal with a client.
Those are beautiful. I love a good
Yeah.
model home. I love touring a good model setup home. Or like an open house that has like all these floors done, and you're just like, I'm just here to view. So that's awesome.
I'm guilty of that. I definitely have gone to open houses and I'm not moving. Like I'm just gonna go because I want to just check it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like how I look at things. I'm like, everything has to look like, let's just say, a dollhouse. But yeah, also comfortable, and like you can live in it, but it has to look aesthetically pleasing as well. So that's just how my mind works. So every time like everyone comes into like my apartment, they're like, we're afraid to like sit or touch anything. And I'm like, no, go for it.
See, I can see from here, you have that green wall and you have a green couch, and I'm obsessed with emerald green couch so bad that I don't know when I'm going to get it, but I just want the bigger space that allows me to have an emerald green couch.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't like color. I like everything to be neutral, like
So
warm.
do I.
But since I love plants, I'm like, that's my source of color, green.
Yeah.
So
that's your pop. That's your life.
That's my pop.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? Green sofa. Everything else could be
Do you help with clients also like cross country, or you're mostly working with real estate, but do you do it throughout the country, internationally? Is there just kind of open to accepting?
Right now, always open to accept. But right now is basically just from where I came from, New York, and then where I'm at right now, Miami. So little by little, I'm expanding. So in the show, they didn't show the scene, but Midtown Miami magazine featured my apartment on their magazine.
Nice.
So that was a really cool scene, and they showed off the whole space, the upstairs as well. So that was very exciting, and that was my first press ever. So more to come for sure.
Of course, more to come.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
awesome. Being featured, like what's it called? What's that digest one? Architecture Digest.
The Instagram.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah. And I think also you have like a masculine way of designing too, which I like how male designers make things look masculine but not like rough. I don't know how to explain it. I think that it comes like across that way.
I guess the right word probably could be elegant, but in a masculine way. Instead of so like rough and rugged and industrial and like even though I could do that as well, but personally that's not my style. Like, but yes, I totally understand. So my little hobby, not everyone knows this, but it's gonna sound very weird. So when you're little and you have all these pets, and throughout time they die, and you know, you go from like a goldfish to a hamster to a bird to a cat to a dog. Instead of throwing them away, I keep them and turn them into art. So instead of
like taxidermy.
Yes. So
everyone has their own secrets.
I know that was a little weird.
To each their own, and if you're using it for art concepts, we are fine.
Yeah.
So wait, how did you learn how to do taxidermy? That isn't that like a profession? Like, how did you learn to do it?
YouTube, Google's your best friend. But yeah, so it started off. It started off with just maybe putting them in jars, because I was like cutting them open. I'm like, but in the same time, I was just like, I was watching too many like science channels and history channels that I'm like, you know what, this is possible. And back in the day, I was into my like dark emo stages, so kind of like, you know. But
it has a little Halloweenish kind of vibe to it.
I like the word Halloween, Marley. Thank you for saying Halloween.
I mean, they're perfect Halloween decorations.
Wow. Okay.
So,
did you ever do that with like a large animal, like a dog?
No. When my dog passed away, I won't go that far. But when my dog passed away, the only thing I could probably think of to do was just, you know, cut a little bit of her fur and put it in a jar and a date on it. So
okay.
I have that. But I've gone through, instead of me having hamsters, I was that kid that had rats as pets, and tanks and snakes and birds, frogs. So I have all those like little things in jars. Maybe I could show you up here. So there's
wow. I mean, it's awesome at the same time because it's such a different. Yeah. Oh, you don't play, but it's awesome.
So I had a lot of Cuban turns. Yeah, and like the way I display it is not so gruesome. So when I tell people like about it, they're like, ugh. But when they come and see it, they're like, ah.
Right. It's done in a tasteful way.
Oh yeah, that's and see, that's the thing. Like now we're like, oh, that's really nice. Like,
right. So when people come in, it's like a little museum in my apartment. So you like walk everyone through. This is this.
I'm sure a lot of people do a lot of the nodding, and they're like, "Oh, I see."
Yeah.
You could just tell people you bought them.
I can. I mean, some are gifts, some are stuff that I bought as well. But like recently, my boyfriend gave me a bat for my birthday.
Ooh, a bat. Look at that wall. I love the wall.
But it's like it's so clean and beautiful at the same time.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, I think we lost you.
Yeah, it's
there we go.
Oh wow.
Pretty crazy. That is, but that's awesome. But things like that make a room very like unique in its own way, or like a space in its own. So you have a very unique, complicated, but like it works cohesively. Kind of.
It works, right? It works.
And so that means you can work with almost anyone, I guess, because people are complicated when it comes to places.
Yeah. So I have the dead and the living things, and all in one room.
That's so awesome. I think you're such an interesting individual, honestly. I'm not saying that we were expecting you not to be interesting, but I think that we learned so much more about you than we expected. I can safely say that, which is really cool.
Hopefully on season 2, you'll get to know me a little bit more, just because this was more of like my sister's season, because it's about the Zavalas. Please don't say that I said that. But yeah. So hopefully season 2, you'll get to see a little bit more of me.
Is it okay? I have one last question about this show, because I'm pretty sure a lot of other people think this. Is this dangerous to start talking about this type of stuff on film?
Yes, but no. Just because it's all in the past, and it's just us telling you what we went through or what we're going through, but it's not current. Because I don't think they would put us in this side. He was not allowed to go to Colombia, as well as Marie, but I think with the other cast members, it was fine. It was just it's more of a docu-series. I was telling you what we went through and what we're going through. But, so it's right after the Narcos whole event. But yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in similarity to the previous, what's the ladies that had?
Mob Wives, right?
The Mob Wives. And so in a sense, they're not the ones who were in the initial, like, it's not them, they themselves did not select this lifestyle. It was kind of what you grow up in and the environment that you're in. And so kind of the consequences, or like the parts that are like, you know, kind of still follow you, but that's not you because you're an interior designer. Yeah. What happened within your family, it has nothing to do with you. Right?
Yeah.
You're not
but, and of course it affects everyone a different way. So that's why everyone goes through what, you know, you see that everyone goes through.
Yeah.
And past problems come back. But my sister's situation of her being like I said, my dad, she didn't like how the way she looked, and she wanted to get her boobs, her nose done. So my dad paid for all of those things and and made her look like what she looks like now. And just because, you know, we were both being bullied in high school, middle school, when we were younger. But it's funny how we were both, like, let's just say the ugly ducklings and the ones that were being bullied, and then now we're the ones that are glowing up. So
right. You were an ugly kid. You're super cute. I was cute.
They always tell you be careful for the quiet ones and the not so cute ones and stuff like that, because once a couple years pass by after that graduation, they flourish in different ways. Yep. So you never know. But like it's nice to see, and hopefully the show continues to grow to show what everyone does independently from everything, as opposed to like still being tied to because I know letting go of your family history is a little bit tough too, because it is your history, right? Has it always followed you, or like, I know you guys didn't probably tell people in school or stuff like that, but
I mean, we noticed, but we were like, okay, we just accept it. Like, we didn't ask, where's this money coming from? We were just living our normal life, like if it was normal to us. For other people's eyes, it was a little too much, and we were like what I went through. I'm like, I'm just being myself. I'm just being you. I mean, I'm, you know, and sorry, you're not in this same lifestyle as me, but for me, this is normal.
I had and I'll just say this one thing. In middle school, there was a kid in my class I'll never forget. His last name was Gotti. And so so it was like, you didn't know until like all these stuff, until like, you're like almost like in middle school. And literally in middle school, he was constantly asked if he was related to the Gotti family and things like that. Where it came to a point where he was like, yes. And like, he would just tell people yes, but I never found out if he really truly was.
Yeah.
But that name is not that easy to be like, you know, that last name is not that common. So as an adult now, I think his family was, and he was just like, I'm just living low key out here. Leave me alone.
Normal person.
Yeah, I am my own. I am a child who has nothing to do with this. So very intriguing.
And like you said, ever since these Netflix specials came out, Narcos and these shows, and, you know, El Chapo doing time, and there's always like these huge kingpins. The fact that, you know, La Madrina's son is on the show, you know, everybody knows about things like that. So it's just like things that are part of our history, and like you hear about, and it's always like at a distance, but like when you actually meet people, you're like, oh my God, like
that's real.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a real person. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess you never really do see those things as real unless you're actually within it, and you're just like, oh, that's real life.
Right. That has its pros and it has its cons, but yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, the money. I mean, it is, right? Why would you do it if it wasn't for the money? It is what it is.
That's very true. I actually thought I've learned some things about my parents recently about the 80s, and I was like, oh, we was out here. Y'all would never let me go outside and do things. But what I'm learning, who you were hanging with.
Yeah.
And this person just got out of FBI, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh,
okay.
So we got, I see what y'all was running out here in these streets in the 70s and 80s.
No wonder y'all was out in these VIP clubs.
all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. But Micheal, tell us what's next for you. Tell people how to contact you, what's coming up, what to look forward to, all the new projects you have going on, all that stuff.
So you can contact me on Zavala Concepts on Instagram. DM me or either email me. It's on the link there. Also, you could also chat with me on my website. But new photo shoots are coming soon. This is why I haven't posted in a while, just because I may be featured on a magazine.
Oh.
So, it's gonna be exciting.
Add model to the list of things.
I guess I fell into that look. But yeah.
Very cool.
Perfect.
So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being a part of our Fresh Mondays podcast episode. We really welcomed you and we loved having a conversation with you. Thank you for sharing your story about coming out as well.
No, thank you very much.
That's awesome. It takes a brave person, to share that.
And don't forget to check out Love Abduction on YouTube, correct?
Yes, and the song Stay True.
And the song Stay True. Thank you so much, Micheal, for joining us. We appreciate it, and you take care.
Thank you very much. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There you go.
So yeah, that was such an awesome conversation with Micheal. I really liked him. Like, I want to do lunch with him now.
And visit and take a tour of his apartment in person.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like, not even for the apartment. I just really like this energy. Like,
definitely. You can sense. So what's interesting sometimes with reality TV, you don't get everything from everyone and so we have this assumption, and I know he's not one of the main folks in there, but he's there. And so speaking to him directly and having a conversation with him gives you a whole different light of who he really is, because you're associated with the word cartel, but in actuality, he's just the guy who does his work, who enjoys, concepts and enjoys all this
he's
visual
an artist.
stuff. And he's an artist.
Yeah.
So I think that's fantastic. And we wish him completely the best. And you should do lunch with him.
I know. We'll figure it out. But thank you so much. And of course, we're going to go right ahead and jump into our weekly recommendations.
So in this week's recommendation for me, recently within my new position, we do a lot of tracking and noting down the progress and the process of certain things. So I'm going to recommend. Wow, what happened there? Recommend a project tracker tool that I like to use. I like using Airtable. If you haven't heard of Airtable, go to airtable.com. It is a great tool to kind of have a checkoff list, kind of share this spreadsheets and certain tools with someone else. If you're on a shared project, assign them is what I mean. I'm sorry. Assign projects to folks. Easy to check off. Beautifully kind of color coordinated. I love color schemes and I love brightness. Kind of keeps me concentrating. It is a beautiful template to use when it comes to organizing events, organizing parties, just organizing documents and those kind of things. Airtable.com, that is my favorite tool. So I suggest that for everyone.
Very cool. That's a great takeaway, especially nowadays when a lot of things are done remotely, when you're doing remotely, when you're with a team and you have people in different offices. It's nice to have a way to have a digital board that everybody can kind of look at. That's pretty cool.
And you can see when the last person edited, when the last person logged in. So it kind of keeps this whole accountability concept to everything. So I like that. So Airtable. And that's my recommendation of this week.
Very cool. My recommendation of this week is going to be about the public speaking club called Toastmasters. I am currently happy to say that I'm part of the executive board of the Young Professional Entrepreneurs Toastmasters chapter here in downtown Miami. The reason I'm recommending it, not because I'm saying you should come to the one that I'm involved with. The reason that I'm sharing this, of course you're welcome to, is because Toastmasters is an organization that's global. So they have different public speaking clubs in a variety of countries in almost every single state. And it's really cool. And the reason I want to recommend that is because everyone who works nowadays sometimes has to do a presentation. If you work for yourself, you have to sell yourself. If you want to improve your public speaking because, you know, you want to start becoming a public speaker professionally, if you, you know, want to advertise something you believe in, if you run a charity, if you, you know, are trying to just bring awareness to a brand new film that you're coming out with, you may have to go up and do a speech. And the strength of public speaking really does resonate with the audience in a very impactful way. And I think that it can truly increase your professional skills if you go into a club where it can teach you to break the fear of public speaking. It's been an amazing learning experience for me. I think I'm getting a lot stronger at it. I get super nervous every time I'm about to go up and speak. I'm still not over the nerves, but I know it's better, because even when I like watch myself, because we like film it and then I see myself and I'm like, okay, I see what I could have done better, or I see what I could have whatever. Or sometimes the mistakes that only you know you made, but the audience doesn't realize that you made a mistake. Like that's a skill in itself. You know what I'm saying? So it's just something that I want to recommend to anybody who wants to kind of break the fear and want to start putting themselves out there and knowing how to public speak. Toastmasters is a great way to kind of do that. And plus, it's something to do. You know, sometimes once a month, you may want to go to a networking event and you want to like meet people and whatever. You're going to meet a lot of other very like-minded individuals that are just trying to develop themselves. So you might even find a great business relationship.
I love that idea, especially as you get older. It doesn't make it easier to make like friends or connections. And so being a part of something, like we were saying earlier, volunteering, being a part of some sort of activity or something like that makes a huge difference. So, and public speaking is kind of major too when it comes to pitching your deals and pitching what you have going on and finding new recruitment or something like that. I think that's a great idea to be a part of that group.
Yeah. So those are our 2 recommendations for the week. We want to say thank you for everybody who has been tuning in and watching and reposting and sharing. We really appreciate everything that you have done to help us get to where we are now. As you notice, we do have advertisements that are now part of our podcast as well. If you guys want to advertise yourselves, just contact us privately and we'll tell you what some options may be. Also, if you do want to be a part of the podcast, please email us at freshmondayspodcast@gmail.com. You can contact us on our Instagram at freshmondayspodcast, and we'll be more than happy to see how we can collaborate together.
And I'm going to do this new thing where it's going to say subscribe here on our YouTube channel, so you know when a new episode is up as well. There's a subscribe button somewhere. Is it usually? Yeah, it's usually here. So,
yeah, and there's like a bell as well.
Notifications up here.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. Thank you again to Micheal for being a part of the episode, being part of the show. We look forward to seeing you guys next Monday.
Yes. And please make sure to look up on Eventbrite if you're in the Miami area. It starts with a vision. I am still hosting this specific seminar to help people empower themselves financially. We will keep you updated and make sure that you attend. It starts with the vision on Eventbrite, and make sure to follow the business page at Show Me Productions. I'm going to keep you guys informed on details about who's getting involved and how you can get involved if you're a vendor or you would like to sponsor as well. If you want to follow me, I am Diana C on Instagram.
And you can follow me at love, LUV, MARLEY _ and on Facebook and Twitter, all those places you can find it. Just Google me.
There you go. Okay, you important. Just Google me. Gotcha.
Just Google. I can't wait for that day. Just Google it. You can find me. Please.
There you go.
You know, Cardi just is Google the word Cardi and it pops up. So just Google Marley and it'll work.
There you go.
Thank you guys again for joining us for episode 61. We'll see you guys next Monday.